Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is old school. We're going back to Ask Anna videos. I don't know if you guys even remember, I used to do these back in the day. I think my last Ask Anna video was probably before I stopped my channel, which was like early 2018, I'm pretty sure. If you don't already know, Ask Anna is where I used to ask you guys to ask me questions, or where you guys used to ask me questions on anything, any topic, and then I used to answer them. So I thought I'd bring them back because it's a really cold, gloomy day, and I just feel like being cozy and chatting. That's how I feel right now. This woman asked, do boobs go back to normal post breastfeeding? I'm 9 months in and they seem so saggy. So I would say probably, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but probably not in terms of sag. My boobs have never been particularly perky in the first place. So I've always had like naturally pretty good rack. That's what my friends have said in the past. And then when I got really skinny, and I always put this down to breastfeeding, they shrank like a lot, like I lost like a lot of volume. And then when I gained weight, they went back. In fact, I think they're probably bigger now. So I wouldn't say that it changes the size. I did used to think that, but now I don't. I think that had to do with other factors, not to do with breastfeeding. However, mine are still really saggy, and I just think that's a natural fact of life. Also, just remember that just because you see something in the media, like we often see girls and women with these perky boobs that are so lifted, that's not real. Even if they haven't had a lift or a boob job, it's still probably just a really good push-up bra, and it's possible for you to get that, and that's kind of what I rely on. But I think we should normalize saggy boobs is basically what I'm saying. This girl said, do you consider yourself a perfectionist? Yes, I do still consider myself to be a perfectionist. I kind of think that you either are or you're not, and I think that being a perfectionist right now, like in this day and age, gets a really bad rap. Before, I think like years ago it didn't, but now it does, and I kind of don't agree with that. I feel like you can be a perfectionist and it can be a healthy thing, or you can take it to an extreme and it can be a very unhealthy thing. And I think it's about getting the balance right. So, but I still think that even if you say, in my case, recover from an eating disorder or kind of break ties with that unhealthy thing that you're being perfectionistic about, you still have the perfectionistic personality trait. That's just part of who you are. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't think you should apologize for that. So I find, like, for me personally, that I have just gone back to basically who I was before the eating disorder, and not to make every single question about that, but being a perfectionist has a lot to do with, or did have a lot to do with my eating disorder, in that I'm no longer perfectionistic about food, my body, my size, my weight, what I look like. But I am still a perfectionist in other areas of my life where it could be more healthy, like my work, you know, my business, like those kinds of things. I am a perfectionist about, and I don't think that's wrong. I think that you could actually use it to your advantage and become successful by being a perfectionist. Where it all goes wrong is when you kind of put it into practice in an unhealthy way. I thought this one was interesting. Are you glad you had all your kids quite close together? And is there no chance of baby number 5? So I've answered that question before. I don't want another baby. I don't want to have baby number 5, and I've made that pretty clear. But I am glad that I had them relatively close together. Like the biggest age gap is just under 3 years, and that would have been smaller had I not miscarried, so that wasn't an intentional gap, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I would recommend, if you can, obviously this is up to a lot of different factors, so I'm not saying that it's, you know, it's a privilege to have been able to do it, it's basically what I'm saying, and I totally recognize that. But if you can, and if you have that option, I think it is really beneficial to have your children close together, just because you're in that zone anyway of like nappies and breastfeeding or bottle feeding or whatever you choose to do. You know, you're in that zone already, and babyhood and baby milestones. When you come out of that, when your child comes out of nappies, or like, you know, you stop having to take a changing bag or a change of clothes or wipes with you. When you're out of that, it's really hard to get back into it. My mum didn't do what I did. She had two relatively, well, they're close together in normal terms, but like for me it wasn't. Like she had me and then she had my sister 3.5 years after, but that's pretty like a normal gap, I would say. I just happened to have them really close. And then 7 years later, she had my youngest sister. So that was a bigger gap. And you know, everybody's different. Everybody does it different ways, and that worked for her. I just think everybody's different. I like to have it done and dusted and I'm done, you know? Do you have any tips on intuitive eating? Intuitive eating is a funny one because it is actually so simple, because intuitive eating is essentially just eating when you're hungry, stopping when you're full, like listening to your body. But for somebody that is coming from disordered eating or yo-yo dieting or anything like that, any kind of problems with food, it's actually the furthest thing from simple. It's the most complicated thing. And it's not so easy for you to just dive into. So I would say take it slow. I'd say read the book on intuitive eating. Like the actual book, Intuitive Eating, is a really healthy place to start. And just don't expect too much of yourself. It does come naturally after practice and after a while. My whole thing with my recovery is that I wanted everything to happen like straight away, and I wanted everything to happen now and really fast, and I hated the process of waiting. But you have to kind of make peace with that, because it's not going to be that simple, unfortunately, because when you actually think about it, it is the most simple thing in the world. However, we have just messed up our brains so much to make it really complicated, and that took years. So you have to give yourself a lot of time to unravel that. Do you think your style has changed since your recovery, and why? So yes and no. I think that my basic style, like I know what I like and what I don't like, and that kind of hasn't changed at all, actually. In terms of, you know, pieces of clothing. When I was in the depths of my eating disorder, when this was like years ago, when I was at my worst, before having kids or anything, I used to wear black, like, and dark colors all the time. It actually started because I was working at a makeup counter and we had to wear black all the time, and I just got into it, and then it became a really, really bad habit. I just felt like I needed to wear black because it was the most slimming color. And that didn't really go away like for a really long time. Like I got better at introducing different colors, but it was still very much there. And during my recovery process, I found myself absolutely hating anything black, anything that was dark, anything that had to do with my eating disorder. I just really just didn't like. I didn't like anymore, and I just really wanted to turn away from. So I started wearing brighter and brighter colors, and that has been the case the whole way through. And now I feel way more attracted to brights than I do darks, and it hasn't changed. So I would say that's the only thing that's really changed. But in terms of what pieces I like and what types of clothing I like, I still like, sometimes I'll see like a black and white or like a monochrome outfit, and it'll be so classic and so chic, and I'll think it's so cute, but then just because it's black I won't get it, because there's something in me that's just, I can't with black anymore. We've broken up. Did you always want to have 4 children? I always wanted to have an even number, so it was either going to be 2 or 4. Do you ever spend a day in your pajamas and don't bother doing any of the normal things? No, I don't, because I basically can't. Like, it's just too busy for me to do that, and yeah, no, I don't. I just can't. Do you ever regret the decision to start filming your life? Love you guys. Thank you. And I love you too. I honestly, like, hand on heart, no. Never, ever, ever have I regretted that, because I think we've captured the most amazing moments. I think we've done it in a way that's dignified and respectful towards our children. And I'm really, really proud of what we've done, and I'm so happy with it, and I would never have it any other way. I love that we're in control of everything that we put out there, so there's nothing out there that I think shouldn't be. And we've always just had that, Jonathan and I have always had the same beliefs on the whole thing, and so we know what we want to keep off camera, we want to keep on camera, but we've just captured the most amazing moments, and I have forgotten so many of them, because the thing is that when your kids are small, it's so full on and you do forget lots of things. So sometimes I will just sit, you know, I'll sit there and I'll go through, if I forget something or if I can't remember a certain thing, I'll go back and I'll watch a video of when that happened, and it's amazing the things that you don't remember or how differently you see yourself. Like, I have gone back and looked at myself and looked at the kids and just been in awe of how I didn't realize that they looked that way, or I didn't realize how small they looked at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, oh wow, they really were. Or just cute moments that they've done. It's just such a joy to watch, and it's a gift for them to look back on as well. And I honestly would never have done anything different. Does it bother you when Jonathan speaks over you? And I don't think this was like a nasty comment, because she put some like laughing emojis. So, so this is a problem that it's an issue that he has. And it's not just with me, it's with other people too. He just gets really excited. And yeah, like sometimes it does annoy me, and I've said it to him, he knows it annoys me. But I'm sure there's things that I do that annoy him as well. Like sometimes I correct his grammar and he's like, stop right there. So that's probably annoying to him. But yeah, it does annoy me sometimes, but then he has explained it to me, and it is just part of his ADHD, and he doesn't mean any harm by it. I think that's the main thing, is that he really doesn't even realize when he's doing it. It's just he gets excited and he can't stop. This is a good one. What made you change your mind on renewing your wedding vows? In the past you said no. I did say no in the past, and what actually changed my mind was I saw Emily NARS had done it last year, I think, and what she did just looked so beautiful, and it was so different to how the other examples that I had seen of renewing wedding vows. It was so intimate and personal, and that's what essentially changed my mind, because all of the other renewal ceremonies that I had seen were basically like a second wedding, or like a third wedding or a fourth wedding. Like that's what I had seen, was that it was a huge celebration. It was basically a wedding again, like a wedding redo, where there was like all the guests and all the fuss and all the money spent. And I didn't like that, because I felt like, well, we've already spent the money, we've already got other people to spend money. Like neither Jonathan nor I come from families with lots of money, so for my family, especially the family from Ireland, to come to Italy and pay for that travel and pay for hotels and all that stuff, that was a big deal for all of them. And I really never wanted to take that for granted, or I just feel like it would be a disrespect for me to, I don't know, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's just, I feel like it would be disrespectful to everybody that, you know, took the time and spent the money to come to our wedding, to just redo one again in like a few years. But then I saw Emily's vow renewal, and it was so beautiful, because she just had her husband and her 3 boys, and I was like, oh my gosh, if we do a vow renewal, that's what I want to do. I want to do just us and our kids, nobody else, and just have some beautiful pictures. And because we couldn't afford a photographer on our wedding, so it would be really nice to redo that side of it. How do you stop counting calories? I physically can't stop, and it's ruining my life. The first thing I want to say to this is thank you for reaching out. The fact that you know that it's a problem is a really big deal, and it's a big step for you to even have left me that question. So thank you for doing that and for trusting me with your question. I also want you to know that you're not alone. I actually never went down the path of counting calories like probably like how you're describing. I used to do it for like maybe like one specific meal, or like for certain things. It was kind of weird, but anyway, I think the best way to stop is to gradually, you could do it cold turkey, but I am assuming that will give you a lot of anxiety, but I think a gradual way to do it is to maybe just like not do it for one specific meal. So maybe start with breakfast, and you know, you can still count calories for the rest of the meals, assuming that you're doing it for the whole day of food, but just don't count your breakfast. And then when you get comfortable with that, move on to not counting breakfast or lunch, like add another meal. So, and then the goal is that by the end of this whole process, you can manage like a whole day. And it might not be every single day consecutive. It could be like you don't count calories for one day and then you do for the next day. I'm not an expert, but I do think that that is a good way of dealing with it, so as not to kind of rev your anxiety into high gear, because it's gradual and it's doable, like small doable steps that you can actually do. And it in your mind, when your mind is that used to it, it's so difficult to get out of it, and I totally understand that. I think this is going to be the last one because this video is long enough. Do you ever get hate from other mums in school or kindergarten because of your profession? This is a definite no. I've never ever experienced anything but kindness from every year group that I'm in, and I'm in soon to be 4. Because when Andrea starts in January, it'll be 4. And I've already actually met some mums from his year group. So with Amelia's year group, it's probably like an older group, just because most people don't have... I was young to have, like, I wasn't super young, but you know, like in my town where I live, and just the way things are where I live geographically, women don't have kids or settle down at the age that I did. So 24 to have Amelia was, in my area, considered young. And so a lot of women around me, they start having babies in their 30s. So Amelia and Eduardo, especially Amelia's year, the mums were quite a bit older than me. So I think a lot of them, that was my first experience with school mums. So a lot of the mums prior to having had kids had been, especially in Amelia's year, had been like either doctors, accountants. A lot of them had finance related jobs. There were a couple of lawyers in there. So a lot of them had these like high powered like jobs that were so different to what I do for a living. And so I think because of that, none of them were bored enough to really care. They were all from those types of jobs where they just don't have... I think people that do those types of jobs, and this is a big generalization, but I hope you guys know what I mean. A lot of people that do those jobs, they just don't care enough. They're very busy. They have a lot of stuff going on, and that's not to say that anybody else doesn't, but you know what I mean? Like, they just don't care. And a lot of them didn't know what I did, and just didn't... When they found out, they were just like, okay, cool. Like, they just didn't care. And then as we went further down through the school, so like with Eduardo's year, it was slightly younger. And then Alessia and Andrea's now are a lot younger, because they were like similar to my age. They were more like on Instagram or, you know, on social media or social media savvy. And they just thought it was cool. They were like, good for you, you know, like they just think it's cool. Like they don't think anything of it. It's not like, I don't know. It's just, it's so non-judgmental. And I genuinely have never found anyone to be rude or mean or nasty or anything. They just wouldn't even, it wouldn't even come into their minds, because I think they're all just pretty busy people. I have to answer this one. This one I have to answer. My parents tell me that I'm fat and I should lose weight. Any suggestions what I should do? This makes me so sad. Okay. Number one, why is fat a bad thing? That would be my question to them. Why is fat a bad thing? Do they think that you're unhealthy, or are they just concerned? Are they just fat phobic? I know a lot of fat people and a lot of different sized people, whether that's small or bigger or whatever, or in between, that are perfectly healthy and don't have any health issues whatsoever. Because I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with being fat. And I don't care if I get called out by people that believe that fat is unhealthy. It's not. It's all relative. Fat can be unhealthy for certain people that are not meant to look that way, or that are doing things that are unhealthy for their body. But fat can actually be really, really healthy for a lot of people, myself included. I wouldn't say that I am fat per se, but I do have more fat on my body than I did previously, and I am so much healthier right now. So that would be my argument to your parents. And also, the situation that you're in is really difficult because obviously your parents are supposed to be the ones to support you, and I don't really know that they're not. Like, I don't know your parents and I don't know you, so I can't really judge, but maybe just bring their attention to the health at every size movement. I really think that that's so important for them to understand, because essentially them trying to make you lose weight is only going to aggravate the whole situation and make it worse. Dieting and restriction is never the answer. It just never is. In fact, it's been proven that over time, going on diets and restricting can actually cause you to gain more weight. You end up being bigger than you ever were in the first place when you first started on your first diet. So just, if you give them that information, I don't think that they can even argue with that. It's there, plain clear as day. The facts are there. Diets are proven to not work. Them trying to help you in that way is not helping you at all. It's actually completely adding fuel to the fire and just aggravating the whole problem. If there even is a problem in the first place, because there may not be. Some people are, not everybody is meant to look a certain way. People are meant to look different. So if you are quote unquote fat, that may not necessarily mean that you're unhealthy. This is what studies are showing time and time again. And I know I'm not a doctor. Obviously, you know, if you have concern, if you actually genuinely have concerns about your health, then obviously go to a health professional. But in my opinion, shaming somebody or trying to restrict what they eat or put them on a diet to lose weight because of a physical appearance is not the answer. So, just know that you are perfect the way you are. You don't have to change yourself for your parents, for anybody else. And the moment that you accept that, I promise your life will be so much better. And your parents do care about you. They're probably just misinformed. But there are things out there that you can show them and that you can bring to them, which just gives them like a better understanding of it. Because I didn't know before either. We all could stand to learn a thing or two and to be educated. I still make mistakes, and everybody does, and parents aren't perfect, so I'm sure that they will appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that some of my answers helped you, and I really enjoyed doing this actually. I thought it was really nice to just kind of connect with you. Let me know if you want to see more. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe for more. I upload Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.